Hey everyone! Welcome back to another episode of The Other Side of the Struggle. And as you guys know, I've been bringing on guest speakers with me the last couple of weeks who are going to be speaking with me at the Rejuvenate You event coming up March 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2024. So we're really excited about this. We're getting kind of pumped and gung-ho and getting to know everyone. And I honestly think so far, like that has been my favorite part about this whole process because I get to talk with just some amazing, amazing people. And one of the people I get to talk with today, I should say, is somebody that I am just loving getting to know. Her energy is just so fabulous. She's so cute. She's so bubbly and she's so much fun. I know you guys are going to love her as much as I do. So it's Amber Griffiths, and so let me tell you a little bit about Amber. She's the maker of legends. I'm gonna let her speak to that a little bit, but I can totally see why she is the maker of legends. She's a brand strategist as well, and so for like people that are into business, like you can kind of understand what a brand strategist is. She's got one spectacular, awesome daughter. I'm trying to like say spectacular and awesome together in one word. It's not working out very well. And like, she's a lover of jigsaw puzzles, Legos, speaking, and loving on her clients. And you can tell, like, just in that intro, like how much fun she has, how much play she lets into her life. And like, it's so awesome because I feel like having that amount of play in your life really also opens up your voice and allows it to be heard. So that's what we're talking about today with Amber, especially where she is so passionate about letting your voice be heard. So without further ado, let's welcome Amber Griffiths onto the show.
Hello there, Erin. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
It's
Thanks for letting me
awesome.
come play.
You're welcome. I kind of like want to come over to your house and play Legos. Like I totally
Ah,
do.
we
I've
should
got,
totally do that.
which totally should, like really. I've got a bunch upstairs. I just got to go grab them from my sons and I'll be right over. Right?
Excellent. 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 I've got Hogwarts Castle if you want to take it and put it together. We've done it and taken it apart again. So
Oh,
yeah,
my
yeah.
kids,
Legos should be passed along.
they should. They absolutely should. I should go get the Hogwarts Castle. That would be fun. Put it together with my kids. My kids would love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so thinking about play ideas, I'm getting
hmm
excited about that. Tell us a little bit about this Maker of Legends and how that led you into like being so passionate about letting people's voices be heard.
It was the other way around. Um,
Ah,
my
okay.
my vision has always been since I launched my business about 18 years ago. My vision has been to help you get your voice heard, to help you stand out and differentiate yourself because it's not about the stuff and it's not even about the stuff you say because content is great and you probably have great content. You have great stories, great messaging, but it comes down to the experience with you. The experience with you is everything, and that's what makes you unforgettable. So the more we can speak up and speak our truth, our message, our vision, our passion, our purpose, the more we can become legend. The biggest factor I believe in that is like because you can become really famous and you can become well known and you're a celebrity or you're an icon, but to truly become legend, legends aren't made on their own. That's not how it works. So it's about building that community around you because yeah, everybody I talk to, they're, I want to impact 1 million people. Awesome. Not logistically possible if you have to touch every single soul by yourself one at a time.
Right.
But when it's one to one to many to many to many more, you really can create that ripple effect that touches every single shore. So let's create a community. Let's create a movement. Let's actually go change the world, but we get to lock arms to go do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I get to create is I love working with women who, whether they're in business or if they're doing a nonprofit, or they're just super passionate about what they're creating in the world as an individual, as a human. Awesome. Let's go do that. Let's get your voice heard. Let's create community and let's go do that together. So that's what I get to do with people. And it's I love, love, love what I do. It's why I say play, because this is not work.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, yeah. Well, I kind of want to be a legend.
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
I do. Like it's inspiring. I like that. And it's true, like what we get to experience with ourselves and other people really does matter, you know? And
Absolutely.
and I talk about this all the time too, like just how important it is to love the experiences you have with yourself. So many women out there, especially when they're dealing with trauma, have some level of not self-acceptance, like they're still trying to push some really, really vital piece of themselves away. And,
Right.
when we get into that, hey, I'm a legend kind of a thought, like, whoa, like, what do I get to actually bring in? What do I get to accept? What do I get to love more of? And I think that's kind of like what you're bringing up in this whole piece of like Maker of Legends. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
love it.
Branding isn't just for business.
Yeah.
Branding isn't just for entrepreneurs. Everyone has a personal brand. Like
And
whether you think you do or not, you do. So how
mm-hmm.
well are you taking care of it, right? What do people think of you? What do they experience with you? So one of the big pieces I think is that bringing up all those most beautiful, unique, only you have it kind of pieces. And there's a lot of it that we try to keep safe. There's a lot of it where like I don't really want to be controversial. I don't want to ruffle feathers. Oh my goodness, go ruffle feathers. Be who you are. Like don't not ruffle feathers because you are hiding who you are. That's
Right?
just, to me, I think that is just devastating.
Yeah.
Just
You,
let it out.
and see, I hear that like ruffle feathers, I don't want to rock the boat. And then here's the thing. You're not the one rocking the boat, right? If you're speaking up, if you're saying what you think, how you feel, what's like happening, like what is actually true, and somebody doesn't like it, it's not you that's rocking the boat.
Right.
If you're the one that's calm and they're the ones freaking out, think about it. Who's really likely to rock that boat,
Right.
right?
Right.
The
And it's
person that's
possible,
freaking out.
it's possible you're in the wrong boat, sweetie. It's
Yeah.
not the one that's meant for you. I work with speakers all around the world, and one of the things I tell them is, because you talked about that experience with yourself, the thing about being a speaker is there's a speaking element in every business, in every human life. Whether we are speaking with a spouse, a child, a friend, like whoever it is we're interacting with, whatever stage we decide to claim as our own, sometimes that stage is in our own head. And some of that negative, we talk about the inner critic, the negative self-talk, all those things. It's not always negative and it's not always critique. It's trying, our brain is like, no, 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 remember last time you did that, that hurt. Last time you did that, that was really scary and it broke you and it took this long to, so let's not do that again. The things we tell ourselves sometimes, if you were to say those out loud, like you would never say those to anyone else.
Right?
You would never well, and more to the point, even if you heard somebody else talking like that to somebody else, to a third person, you'd be like, what are you doing? You can't speak like that. That's unkind.
Right?
Like, nobody talks like that. And yet, we are perfectly willing to speak to ourselves like that.
Right?
What's up with that? Right?
Right?
So claim that stage in your head and be like, this is where I belong. I am amazing. I'm incredible. I know where I came from. I know where I'm going. Let's just go do this, girl. Like,
Right?
it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. And because that's like that was the catalyst for me, is shifting the way I spoke to myself because and I ask this question all the time. I asked myself if I was to speak to someone else the way I speak to myself, and if I were to talk to my neighbor that way, would I be having backyard barbecues or the street wars of the century? Right?
Right. Right.
Right?
I'd be
And
getting slapped.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's so relevant. And the other piece to this too is we're talking about like, rocking the boat. That has kind of like a survival instinct, like a
Hmm.
survival kind of a tone to it. 'Cause like if you if you were on the Titanic, it sunk, yeah, you're gonna just be not caring who's in that boat and rowing it yourself if you have to,
Right.
right? Whether they're helping you or not. And that's the thing, like I think we just got to be really, really careful with not only our thoughts, well, especially our thoughts, even to get our voices to be heard. Because if we think that we're in a survival state, you know, and we're actually having to row the boat by ourselves instead of actually being on our front porch with the beautiful flowers, having a conversation, that's a whole different. energy
Right.
to the situation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
What if we're not
I
even in the boat? You know what I mean?
what if we're not in the boat, or what if it's this way? I work with a woman. She is actually an award-winning opera singer. She's magnificent. She's so fun, and she talks about the power of a single voice and how it can actually cause an avalanche when it's on the right tune, the right volume, all those things. What if your voice was so true and so powerful that even if the boat was a yacht, it's a massive cruise liner, ship.
Hmm.
I've never been on a cruise. I think that's what they're called. What if your voice was so powerful that it did rocket, that it did cause a wave, that it did
Ooh,
leave things in its wake? Like, why not do that? Why not say, absolutely, what I have inside and what I have to share and the difference I can make on people's lives and the way I'm changing the way people feel and think about themselves? It is so powerful and so absolutely my purpose and what I am here to do. It is going to absolutely change the wake of every single boat in
right.
the ocean.
And
It's that strong.
yes, and here's the point to this, right? Think about Christ and his words. Every word he said had some sort of a wake to it. Every single one.
If
And
you are
it
not leaving
either,
awake, what are you saying?
yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that. And that's the theme.
Then it's just noise. Then it's
And
just noise.
it's just noise, but also I love the whole point of like it's leaving awake, awake. And that's what the power of truth does is it leaves people awake, awakens them, or it
Yes.
completely drives them away from you. That's like the ones
Which,
that don't want to hear it, they'll leave.
right. Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Which
And
is
that's
awesome.
exactly what
That's
it should do. That's
great.
like the power of your
Yes.
voice.
Yes.
And that's why
The
it
more
works so well.
absolutely. Absolutely. I believe that it's part of why branding is my tool of choice to create
Mm,
that.
mm-hmm.
Because if you can speak to who you are so clearly and so powerfully that people listening can instantly go, oh my goodness, she is so my person. I don't care what else happens. I want to be in her space.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else goes, holy cow, not for me. Nope,
Mm-hmm.
not my thing. We save time, we save energy. This is how people end up with 20 bucks a hard way clients, is because they're not specific about who they are. So anybody's like, yeah, okay, I'll work with you. Ugh, when they're not your people. That is
Mm-hmm.
such a horrible relationship, whether that's in business or personal. You should be so clear and be able to speak who you are so clearly and vibrantly that the people listening can instantly choose in or out.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I love
power.
that. Oh, I love that. That is power. So, how do you understand, like, how do you come to understand how important your voice is? Because I do feel like, and we've kind of like talked about this already, but I feel like this is such a massive question, especially for people that are dealing with trauma. A lot of the reason why they're dealing with trauma and the reason why they're dealing with betrayal trauma nonetheless, or money trauma, or any kind of trauma is because they silence themselves to some degree,
Right.
right?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and Amber and I, to my audience, were just talking actually before we got on and started recording about a trauma that I am actually working through again on my own because I realized like, oh, that's not something I've spoken to. You know what I mean? And as I start speaking to it, I'm starting to see like big, huge chunks of it start to fall off, right?
Right.
So, how do you come to understand how important the voice is?
I think that there are part of it. Let me back up and use full sentences. So one of the things is we assume that our voice is only spoken word,
Mm-hmm.
right? Our voice comes through in writing. Our voice comes through in speaking. Like it's all those things. If we are communicating, if we are having an interaction, we are using our voice. We are speaking to our truth, whether we are writing that or speaking it out loud. So when you are journaling, that's an expression. You are giving your feelings and your thoughts a voice, a platform. If you are speaking, one of those people who wants to speak on a stage of 10,000 or 100,000 or five, you are giving voice to those inner thoughts, that inner genius, your purpose. One of the things that um, I spent years in corporate and loved the people. And after I don't know, more than a decade. I was like, this inner thought, and I'm sure, I am so certain that so many of your audience members have had this too. That little voice is like, there's more. There's
Mm,
something else out there. There's something bigger. You are meant for more. In fact, it's one of the first books I ever wrote was brand like you're meant for more. Because it's like, no,
right,
really, like you are meant for so much bigger
right.
than this. So as I sat there in my office and I had built my team and I was doing the work and loving the people, and I'm like, this isn't what it's supposed to be. And I probably would have stayed there for much longer than I had, which is really too sad. But I would go into C-suite meeting after, like, we had executive team, and I would go into the meetings day after day, and I would bring up, hey, we could try this. No, this is how we've always done it, Amber. So it's okay. Don't worry. That sounds like a great idea. Sure, probably. I don't know, but this is how we've always done it. So never mind. And meeting after meeting, I was told, no, it's fine. We're not going to do that. We're not even going to try that. This is how we've always done it. And that's awesome if you want to keep getting what you've always gotten.
Hmm.
But I realize as I'm sitting in there working with the people I was working with and loving my team and loving the work and still being absolutely miserable.
Mm,
I wasn't being heard. I
mm,
was doing what I thought I loved, which I was sort of, but I was doing like 40%, maybe 30% of what I loved, and about 5% of what I was meant to do. And when I left corporate, I have never looked back, because even if, and it's the same with, if it's a relationship that's not serving you, and you're quiet and you're quiet and I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to say something out of place. Um, Everything's working, so why try something new? Why voice my opinion, my emotions, my feelings? Um, when you get out of it and you feel the sunshine on your face day after day, it's a completely different experience of like, this
yeah.
is the more that inner voice was talking to me about for the last
Mm,
decade. Let's get out there. And what's really great about it is you never know who you're going to inspire
yeah.
just by showing up as who you are and voicing who you are. What I found is the more honest and genuine and vulnerable I am when I speak to people on any level, business, human, any of it, it gives them that safe space to do the same. And if you can hang out in a room full of people who are 100% authentic, like, and just being fabulous and amazing and crazy cool, why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
Like, that's how the world changes. It's not massive, like, let's go and everything was over here in the front, in the back. Let's switch them and make it all open with a garage door opener. Like, it's really those little things. And it starts with, this is who I am, and
Yeah.
I'm going to voice it. And this is what I value. And I'm going to give voice to that too.
Right.
Because those who are in alignment with my values will be immediately like, she's my person. And
Yes.
I want to go have lunch with her. I want to do business with her. I want to change the world with her. I want to have backyard barbecues with her. Let's go do that. And you can't have those kinds of relationships and that kind of joy without speaking about it, without giving voice to your inner passion and your inner thoughts and your genius.
Right. Right. And it's so true. Like it's so true. As you mentioned a couple of things in there that I just found so powerful, and that is like the whole idea to speaking up, being honest, genuine, and vulnerable, even with people that they're probably not going to love what you have to say. Like that leads to finding your mission and your purpose. Like it's found through your voice. That's what happened with me, you know? Um, and like I don't blame anybody for the way that I was raised or kind of like with you've got 30 seconds, right? We can only serve people through the lens that we have, you know? But for me, it really never felt safe to speak up, to really think, like say what I wanted to say. And then pretty soon all of this like resentment and anger and frustration started building up. And so it pushed my words out, but they weren't genuine at that point because now they were laced with all of this anger, all of this frustration, all of this, and that's what
Absolutely.
was communicated. And so my voice was still
Absolutely.
getting lost.
Yeah.
And And so, like, once I started actually speaking, just speaking, not like putting on this big, huge show about how I was feeling, but just speaking, all of a sudden, like, I started realizing wisdom, truth, integrity, honor,
Right.
and like who I truly was, and a mission and purpose started to unfold through that. It's like, oh, okay, I get this now. And
I
now,
like it.
like, I'm so grateful for like everything I've been through, because had I not been
Right.
through it, this podcast wouldn't exist,
Right.
right? You and I probably wouldn't know each
Absolutely.
other, right? And who knows
And
where
that
I'd
would be a
be,
shame. That would be
right?
terrible.
Yeah, that would be a shame. It really would be. And like, it's so fantastic. Just having an experience in life. Because even
Yeah.
even if like our experiences are often poopy, just to say, at least it's an experience.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
We all have that baggage. We all have that trauma. I remember working with a guy in corporate who was very certain he was the only one who had baggage and trauma, and he was, his world is just very rough. Um, and I finally pulled him aside. I was like, "You have no idea. Every single soul who comes in through that door comes with their own baggage, with
Right?
their own stories, with their own not enough stuff, with all of their own trauma.
Mm,
Everybody has it, and that's part of why I think why if we can show up as vulnerable, that's how they can feel like if they can see us, they feel seen too,
mm,
right? And so it's not like I work with people all the time. I'm like, you need to personalize that. You need to customize it. Well, there's 10,000 people. How do I customize that? You customize it from you,
mm-hmm,
not necessarily specifically for them, but you show up as you, because when you see them, they feel seen and can see you too. So it's this beautiful circle of everybody just gets elevated. Everybody gets to play a little bit bigger. Everybody gets to get loud with purpose.
mm,
And that's part of I think what changes. Like I said, that's really what changes relationships. It changes the experience that we have with each other. It makes it worth having. I mean, I don't know. I think I've sat through too many family meals and in-law family meals, whatever. Those experiences that I don't feel like I get to be by myself, where I'm
mm,
like, I get to be this 10% of me because if I actually show them who I am, they're not going to like me. They're going to react poorly. They're going to close down. I've sat through too many of those in my youth to do it anymore. It's not
mm,
fun. It's not fun, and there's no win. Not for me, not for them.
right.
And especially now that I have a child, and I hear her say things like, I'll come out of my office and I'll say, oh, this experience wasn't good. And I had, this networking group really wasn't my thing and I can't figure it out. And she'll say, well, are they your ideal clients, mom? Because if not, then you should find someplace else to go. And I'm like, you are so stinking right. And like having her say my words back to me,
That's
humbling
yes.
and exciting and scary, but realizing that somebody is watching. And when I'm not myself, she notices.
Yep.
And when I come out of my office and I am buzzing because I have had an experience where I'm me, they're them, and everything is positive and real, she sees that too. Which means that at her young age, she is so much ahead of where I was that I'm like, oh, your world is going to be so amazing because you're learning at 12 what I took till I was 30 to figure out.
Right?
So this is awesome. This is great. And it's not just her, it's other people. And if you're 45 and somebody sees you being amazing, being awesome, they're like, well, if she could do it, I
Right?
bet I could. I bet
Mhm.
I could. I mean, what a great thing to spread, right?
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I was actually talking with Donnie's Openshaw last week about like how to protect kids from porn, you know? And it like this is like exactly that. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
my boys, I've got four boys, 16,
Oh my goodness.
14. Yeah, they were back to back. God has a sense of humor. I'm just gonna say that. Anyway, so like um they're awesome though. I love them so much. But like I said, I've got one that's 16, one that's 14, one that's turning 12, one that's going to be turning 10 this year, right? and definitely had like all kinds of boy experiences, but hearing them speak the truth back to me, because they've all at this point been exposed to something, because it's
Absolutely.
not a if, it's a when at this point,
Correct. Correct.
and to see them like express to me like how, like, what they thought, what they were feeling, like what they're
Yeah.
experiencing, and like being really raw and honest and vulnerable with it. Do you know how little they actually struggle with
Right.
with like being exposed to porn and stuff? because
With
because
with
they
everything.
love, yeah, and it's because they love their integrity, they love themselves because of this ability to express who they are, right, to
Absolutely.
express their voice, to love
Well,
their voice.
ask their questions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the cool things. When we decided to have a child, our conversation was like, we are never going to have the talk. We're going to have open conversations.
Mhm.
That anywhere along those lines, there is never a gap in that
Mhm.
bridge. Anything she wants to ask us about sex, about life, about school, about what happens when we die, about politics, about whatever it is that comes into her beautiful little mind, which has been some weird stuff. Like sometimes it's, well, if grandma could talk like a dog, what do you think she'd say? No, I mean, she was
Yeah.
3, but those levels, but she knows she can be herself.
Yes.
She knows she can ask the questions and tell the stories. She has more than 30 seconds to tell a story. There's only one of her. So I've got, we make time. But being able to have that open dialogue, that comes from having that confidence of what I say matters. Who I am inside matters. My voice matters.
Mhm.
It's not, even if there's 1,000 other voices out there, if mine isn't, if I don't get to speak mine, it matters. They're going to notice. People will notice if I'm not sharing this. And I
Mhm.
think those relationships are better. They're going to be healthier people. Way to go, your boys, for being like, no, 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 this isn't for me.
Mhm.
It's all good. Like, that's over there. I'm over here. And being able to communicate that, oh, got chills. That's beautiful.
It is. And
That
and
will
even,
save them.
yeah, and even like dropping the shame about it, like, hey mom, I I saw it, it was kind of enticing,
Right. I was
like,
curious. What
yeah,
is that?
I was curious, it was exciting, it was enticing, and like just being able to be honest without having all the shame thrown on them, like
Right.
that's the kicker. That is really
Without
seriously
the
the kicker.
judgment. Without the
Right.
judgment. And
And
some of that comes from within and some of that comes from the
yeah,
outside.
right. Exactly.
For
Exactly.
sure.
And so, like, I think this brings us like really good into this next piece here. Like, how do we go from I don't know what to say to speaking up, telling what we're thinking and feeling with respect and asking for what it is we want?
This one's heavy in such a beautiful way. Um, One of the things when I work with clients, when I work with friends, when I work with my daughter, one of the biggest pieces that I think inspires people and gives us the confidence and the path to actually have our voice be heard is to remember our why.
Mm,
And more than that, go one step below that, where it's what is your why not? What are you here for? Like, what is your purpose? What is your vision? What is the reason you exist? Why are you here in this moment, in this experience, in this lifetime, doing these things? And then take it a step further and say, okay, why can I not do this?
mm,
Like I've in the past and recent history, I have discovered that if I don't get to share this with people and if I don't get to like help them do what they do best, I have physical pain.
mm,
I get sick to my stomach. I feel constrained in a very physical way. Like I have a visceral response to that. Um, I can't not do what I do because I've seen too many women win. I've seen too many women get to express themselves and own that and claim that and create better lives for themselves and for their family and for their world around them. I can't not do what I do because I know what happens when I do it. I can't not do what I do and
mm,
speak it because I know my daughter is watching and I
mm,
want to be a good example. I want to be able to model what I'm teaching her. So being able to say what I have matters and I have to speak it, I absolutely get to, must. It is a requirement to express it. When you focus on it's not about me, it's because somebody else needs to hear it and somebody needs to experience me saying it, it makes it easier
Yeah.
because then it's like, okay, this isn't just about me.
Right.
This is so much bigger than one human. And yes, absolutely what it does for me is huge. Like I said, I will buzz for days after I get off stage because I'm like, I know that that's where I was supposed to be. That's where I get my message out faster. So being able to move it from it's all about me to how do people experience me? How do I experience other people when I do this? I think it's part of why the legend work is really my purpose, is because it's
Mm.
that community. It's that we're all in this together. Let's just go be amazing and have a really fulfilling life. So I think that's probably the number one thing.
Yeah, and you're talking about like, let's go be amazing together. Like that's a decision, you know?
Absolutely.
It's an absolute decision. And
Certainly.
I'm thinking back to like who I was 10 years ago, like really, really stuck in the trauma, really, really stuck in the mire, feeling like such a victim, and like, and there's no shame in any of that. Like
No,
that was an experience, and a completely necessary one for me,
you have
right?
to feel the feels.
Yeah, you have
Absolutely.
to.
You have
You
to feel it.
absolutely have to. And even today, like still some of that residual stuff, like I'm still having to clear out and heal, and like, oh, that's still there. Okay, well, here we go,
Yep.
moving that away. And like, but it takes a decision to say, I am no longer willing to live this way. I am no longer willing to allow the thoughts and the actions of another person to dictate how bright I get to shine. I am no longer willing to say or to allow and say that, well, I can't be who I am because my husband won't support me financially. Or
Right.
I can't be who I am because my husband is doing pornography. I can't be who I am because I don't have the money. I can't be who I am. I can't be who I am. I can't be who I am. You're stopping yourself from being a creator. It
Absolutely.
doesn't take money. It doesn't take other people. It doesn't take anything else to go out and start creating something. It takes you, and
Yeah.
you being honest with yourself. There's a beautiful piece here. The fact is, the person that needs to hear your voice the most is you. You know? Like there's going to be people out there that's going to be inspired by your voice. Don't get me wrong.
Certainly.
Like it is. It's very inspiring. But there's a reason why, when we're talking about like truths, and we're talking about like speaking what we want, like asking for the things we want, all of those things, your brain is wired to listen to your voice. And so if your voice is sitting there saying, I can't, I can't, I can't, I can't, well, your brain's going to believe it, believe it, believe it, believe it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
If instead though you say, you know what I can do is I'm going to go think about what it is and what I want, and I'm going to go draw a picture of it. And I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going
Yep.
to love myself. I'm going to tell myself why I'm beautiful. The relationship that matters is the relationship you have with yourself, you know? And
Absolutely.
and
It has to
obviously,
start there.
yeah,
It has to
yeah,
start there.
yeah,
Certainly.
yeah.
I Yes. It's
And
it's how I teach
yeah.
it's how I teach branding is so much of your business is about somebody else. Like, how do I serve others? How do I create these things? Well, like here's the products, offers, whatever. But your brand starts with you. Who
Mhm.
are you? What are your values? Like, and not just like what are the important things? What are the absolute non-negotiables? What are the nice ideas? What are the things that I will absolutely leave money on the table and walk away from? What are the things I will leave a relationship for and walk away because that is my value and I will not compromise? It has to start with you. It
Mhm.
absolutely does. If you don't understand how amazing you are and the value that you bring to the world, to your life and to the lives of others, nobody else is going to buy it either. Not in a relationship, not in business. They don't have a chance because they're like, well, she doesn't even talk about that. She doesn't say anything. I have no idea who she is. How do I appreciate her and get to know her if she doesn't talk about who she is? So it has to start inside. It absolutely does. And the other thing I want to just highlight that you mentioned about you thought you had dealt with some of the things and then here they are again. I talk about these things with my therapist and my coach all the time because
Mm-hmm.
something will come up and I'm like, I thought I'd handled that. I thought I had dealt with the
Right.
money issues. I thought I had dealt with the not enough stuff. And yes, I have. And there is no shame in realizing that we're not in a circle like a hamster wheel where it like just keeps coming up over and over again. I think about it like a spiral staircase.
Mm,
Yeah, it's going in a circle, but we are ascending at the same time. So this time when we hear it, this time when it comes back up, we have more experience.
mm-hmm.
And it's one of the things that I teach people as a legend response system, which is we don't react to things because reaction is that first 2 to 3 seconds where we're really not in charge anyway. How do we respond to things? How do we set up a way that when this happens, I respond this way because it is value aligned, it is brand aligned, it is who I really am. So I don't have to come back and apologize or make excuses for my bad reaction. Like we've all seen
Right.
people react poorly and then go, oh, that's so not me. Like I use vocabulary I would never use. I yelled at a volume I would never, or I
Yep.
didn't say all my favorite words. I saw it said all the different words. Like whatever that is, I've seen it on stage with musicians. I've seen it in parenting where we're like, bad Amber. Like that was not awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
But we can say, I know that this keeps coming up. So how do I plan my response in a way that is brand aligned and value forward? So that
Yeah.
it's like next time this comes up, I'm going to do this better. And yeah, it's going to kick my butt a little bit, but I'm not going to be out for 3 days. I'm going to be out for 3 minutes
Mm-hmm.
because I know how to pull myself back out of this. There is no shame in that. That's the learning experience. And you cannot grow without your learning experience. That's
Yes.
what this whole life is about, right? Like let's grow and learn and elevate because we get to experience it over and over again. We
Yeah.
just get to apply different skill
Yes.
set to it.
Yes. Well, and even here I am, like I've been coaching trauma for 10 years, and just a few weeks ago, just had kind of an interesting little tiff with somebody that I have a relationship with, and it threw me for a loop. And I'm sitting there like the whole time, like the real me is like, Aaron, like, come on. Like you like really. You know how to handle this, and here you are like totally allowing yourself to spiral, and you know it, and you're going into this victim mentality, like you know how to handle this, right? And it like granted something like that would have taken me a long time to deal with, but even still it took me at least like 3 weeks to finally like stop it and be like, oh, okay, girl,
Right,
you've had
right.
your fun, now it's
I'm
time to
wallowed.
change.
I've wallowed in this so much. I'm all pruny. It's time
Yeah,
to go do something else.
yeah, time to
I,
do something different.
yes, yes,
But you know what was really
absolutely.
interesting is even like even when we get to those points where we do dive back into the victim mentality, because we're all vulnerable to it to some degree, you know give yourself quickly and learn the wisdom,
I was gonna
you
say
know
extend grace. That's one
and
of the biggest
extend,
things. Like
yeah.
when you're talking about how do I decide what my voice is and like if it matters? We extend grace to so many other people. We
Mm-hmm.
forget ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Extend yourself some grace. Realize, oh my goodness, I know why I did this. I'm human.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Yep. I'm not perfect, right?
Right.
And
I
let's
wasn't
love.
expected to be. Perfection is a myth and it is the enemy
Yes.
of getting things done. So
Yes.
let it go. Let it go. The people who mess up and like the powers in the apology, the powers in the response.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, oh my goodness, they've never messed up in their whole lifetime. That's not attractive. That's intimidating. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm not attracted or drawn to perfect people. I'm like, you're delusional because perfection isn't the thing, right? Like you must be
I'll live
selling
life,
something if you honestly want to put out, I'm perfect. Nobody
right?
I have a real relationship with has a perfection complex. No one.
Yep.
Because they acknowledge, oh yeah, sometimes I just suck.
Or I muck it
It's
up,
that human
you know
factor. It's the
but
human factor and it's not good.
it's
So,
like if we can love the muck up, we'll find out, dang, we're adorable. Like,
oh yeah.
seriously. And that's
Oh
just
yeah.
like, I find like so much humor in like just that 1 minute, like that little blip of my life. It's like, Okay, you're adorable. But
Right.
seriously,
Like,
like let's shift it. Let's shift
like
this
I'm going
now.
to give you a hug. I'm going to slap you and give you a hug, and then we're going to get on with our lives.
Yeah. Yes.
It's okay.
You know what to do, right?
It's okay.
So, what are three things we can do right now to open up our voice and not be silenced again?
Remember your why and go deeper into your why not. For those of you who write emails, post on social media, um, send out, if you speak on anything, a sales call, a relationship, go back through the last thing that you put out there. And again, this is personal, professional, doesn't matter. Go back through the last thing you put out there. Can I tell it's from you? This is part of a signature legend test. Can I read your stuff and tell it's from you without having your business name, your personal name, your logo, your photo, whatever it is? Can I feel you in it? And if not, redo it. Because if that's a phone call to a good friend or a client or a family member, they have to feel you in it.
Hmm.
So if I look through that last email you wrote to your mom, if I look through that last post, that last comment you put on somebody else's stuff, and I can't feel you, you're talking, but there's no voice behind it. You know the
Hmm.
difference?
Hmm.
So see if I can
Energy.
feel you. If I can feel you in it, that's really the big thing. And then again, give yourself some grace. You're not going to be perfect. Nobody wants you to be. Nobody expects you to be. So breathe through it. And if you just need a hug, reach out to somebody who hugs you. Like I
Yeah.
have a dear friend who knew I was having a bad day. She had tater tots delivered to my front door. I mean, who does that? It's been years
Somebody
and it's still
awesome.
one of my right? Like somebody who A knows that potatoes are my thing and tater tots specifically are my thing. But find that person and send them tater tots. Like if nobody's sending you tater tots, find somebody to send tater tots. Go be in service of somebody else. That's the way
Yes.
you can express yourself and have voice. Go do something
Yes.
amazing for someone else. It is it is magic. That's my
Yes.
like
Because
it just happened.
it brings up the fantastic human. That's why.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
why it's so important. And the
Yep.
thing is too, is if you're feeling like I know like there are people that listen to this podcast that are like, hey, I'm not at that point where I do emails and like I'm doing a lot of speaking and things like that. Amber mentioned something at the very beginning of this. Go journal. Like
Yep.
let your voice be heard in a journal. Talk to
Yep.
yourself. Like
Go sing in the
honestly,
shower.
right?
At the top of your lungs, sing in the shower.
People who talk to themselves have been like made fun of for years, but honestly, I think those are probably the most sane individuals, is
Oh,
people
absolutely.
who really actually have a relationship with themselves.
Yes.
So,
Yes. And if it feels negative, catch yourself and go, wow, that wasn't kind. How does that bring value to this conversation? Nope, didn't think so. Back up.
yep, try
Try it
again.
again. Try it again.
Yeah. And that's
I'm a huge
beautiful
believer in
about
the
it.
dance party and the singing in the shower at the top of your lungs.
I am too. Yep, yep, yep. I'm with you. I am with you. Dance party, paint all night, watch those
Yep,
chick flicks,
absolutely.
do it. Paint your nails like you're a gothic. Like
Ah, do you have an inner goth girl, Erin?
I don't think so. Like as I'm sitting there painting it, I'm like, yeah.
Maybe. Express yourself.
Express it. So
Yep.
anyway, thank you so much, Amber, for hanging out with us today. Remember, my loves, about the Rejuvenate You. Um, where can we get our tickets if they wanted to get tickets? Do you know?
I'm sure there's a link
There
that goes to
is.
the Rejuvenate You. I don't have it off the top of my head. However, depending on when this goes out, um, I'm teaching a class next week that is
Mm,
free, whether
mm,
you invest in Rejuvenate or not, but it's going to help you actually do all your stuff better, all your conversations, all your networking, all your speaking, all your posting, all your intimate conversations. It's going to help you do those better because it really is tapping into who you actually are. And sometimes before you have the confidence to express it, you need a tool to help you express it. You need a framework of some kind of a process to say, okay, I can do this and then this and then this. And that's how I get the confidence to get my voice out there. So I'm going to be teaching that next week. But
ooh.
Come to the Rejuvenate You,
Mm-hmm.
because it's all of us. It's all of that in a bag of chips. And because we get to know each other a little bit before that, it's a completely immersive experience.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
Yeah. Well, and we're building like team camaraderie. Like we're having friendships built. Like I'm loving like I so far everybody I've talked to, I just absolutely adore. Like so much fun. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait for this." And just getting to know just so many amazing, amazing people. You guys are like diving into that energy the minute you walk through the doors. And
Absolutely.
and and that in and of itself is going to be a transformation for anyone that's really needing that next level. Um, do you have a freebie for the listeners?
The conference is a good one. Or the workshop next week is a good one.
Yeah,
But
I
I will
might come to
tell
that one.
you, I'm like, it's called the Quick Boost Trio Workshop.
Hmm.
Please come. Oh my goodness, you will love it. Because we're going to go through stuff and we're actually going to get stuff done. Like it's not a take note kind of thing. It's part of why I love Rejuvenate You. Is it's not come in for 3 days and take notes and then hope like crazy you remember what to do on Monday. It's like, no, 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 no. Let's implement. Let's create the stuff. Like you talked about, like this is a
Hmm.
choice. We're going to go create. We're going to go do. Um, Depending on where you're at, there's really good freebies for speakers, for business owners. There's really great speakers for, ooh, if you are interested in the road to legend, and this is on a personal or a professional level, reach out to me and I will share that with you. It's not available out there anymore. I taught it years ago, and so now it's just kind of by request. But if you are interested in a 5-day challenge that is the road to legend, it is about creating and discovering your true vision, your purpose, and how to get there. Reach out to me. You can just email me, amber@yourbrandbydesign.com, and say, I want the 5-day challenge, and I will send it your way. Because I don't, I don't think I've ever actually offered that on a podcast before. So if you want it, I will give it to you. It's
Guys,
amazing.
okay. Eh, okay, to my listeners, and I know there's a fair amount of you, may I suggest that when something is never offered but except to you, you take advantage of that. Go get it.
This
Okay.
is true. I'm like,
Yes.
mention this podcast because otherwise I'd be like, who are you? But
Yes.
then we can but then we can actually have a relationship and I can send you this challenge. It it walks you through it. Yes, it includes journaling. And if you're like, Amber, I don't think the road to legend is quite my thing. What else you got? There'll be something else.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
if that's not quite where you are, we'll find something to meet you where you're at. And if it's not me, I will find somebody to meet you where you're at.
right. Right.
That's the greatest part about all this connection.
That's why we're here to help.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. Awesome. All right, my loves. We'll post the link to the Rejuvenate Youth so you guys can go grab your tickets. I'll get you both my code and Amber's code in the description below. Go grab a ticket. Come see us.
Come
Amber's
play.
amazing. Yeah, come play with us. Come on.
You're right, Erin. Everybody I've spoken to, everybody who's going to come and speak and present, they're incredible. They
Mm-hmm.
have such good hearts. Like they
Mm-hmm.
are absolutely geniuses in what they are doing,
Mm-hmm.
and their whole focus is how can we help? It's just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say this too. Like I've done speaking events before and I actually wrote them off. I'm like, if I'm gonna do speaking events, I'm gonna do my own. But you know what? This is one so far, like the energy of the people, it's so different than any other event I've ever spoken at or any other
Yeah.
event that I've done anything with. And like
Yep.
it will transform your life. Like I promise you that.
Like you
Just
said, I
because
think
of
even
the
just
energy
that
there.
very step into the energy. I mean,
Step
I've
into the
spoken all over
energy.
the world in conferences. I have never experienced it like this beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done this kind of bonding and connecting with the other speakers and presenters beforehand, and it's just going to change the experience for the attendees.
Yeah,
It's just, yes,
exactly. Like
gonna be good.
don't wear socks because they'll be blown off. Let's just say that. Okay.
Don't even bother.
Don't wear makeup either.
No,
Don't
no.
worry about the makeup. Nope.
Niagara Falls.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you so much, Erin, and thank you everyone listening. Thank you so much for your time. It's
No
been a pleasure.
problem. Oh, Amber, it's been a pleasure. We will definitely have you back again. All
Love
right.
to.
Oh, yeah, me too. I will love to. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with Amber and I today, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye, guys.